as Cleopatra was to Mark Antony, as Juliet was to Romeo, as Pocahontas was to John Smith, as Christy Brinkley was to Billy Joe, as Adrian was to Rocky, as Mary Swanson was to Lloyd Christmas, and as Laverne was to Shirley. The Throb's influence in music is legendary. The legendary group Styx devoted several of their hits to the Throb. Their number six hit in 1983, Don't Let It End, was written about the Major League Baseball career the Throb was embarking on with the Houston Astros. Number 3 hit, The Best of Times, was written about the times he got to hang out with the band. And their number 9 hit, Too Much Time on My Hands, was written about how much time the Throb had in the pocket because of his uncanny ability to avoid tacklers. The early years. The earth was moved to tears on Wednesday, April 17, 1963, when the Throb was born to Lloyd and Esther Goffler. At an early age, the Throb knew he was destined for greatness. He received more love and attention from his parents than any other child born. So much that he had none to give their other 4 children. He spent his early childhood living in Pine Lake and attending Pine Lake School. His first sense of amazing athletic ability came when he moved to the township of Pelican and moved into the Green Monster. His pure baseball talent was unleashed. Often he persuaded the family to play in baseball. Because he was what Lloyd and Esther called their only child, they would often join in games. Even at this early age, the Throb had visions of playing Major League Baseball and buying a large truck for his dad to pull the Green Monster to all his games. Because of his experience playing outfield and playing baseballs off of the Green Monster, the Milwaukee Brewers made a deal with the Astros to borrow the Throb and flew him to Boston for a 4-game series, June 25th through the 29th, 1982. The Throb spent countless hours working with Brewer left fielder Ben Ogilvy to teach him how to play balls off the Green Monster. The Brewers were able to take 3 out of 4 games and were 9 games over 500. Coach Harvey Keene contributes that series and the Throb as the start of their famous postseason run, and sent Astro coach Bill Verdon a truckload of Wisconsin cheese for his appreciation, allowing the Throb to help them. It was during this time that he learned how to play through injuries. During one of the games, the Throb's younger brothers, this is speaking when he was at home again as a child. During one of the games, the Throb's younger brothers rolled a large rock in the Throb's way to slow him down, but it had no effect on him. He often amazed his young siblings with death-defying stunts like the Great Houdini. Sometimes, to build up their low sense of confidence, he would allow an act to appear to have gone wrong, and they would have to come to his rescue. One such event, he used ketchup on his chin to replicate a cut on his chin. He played along with the injury to the point of calling the parents to go home for their fine dining experience and take it to the ER. To this day, every morning, he paints a faint scar on his chin. In grade school, he allowed himself to gain a little extra weight so he could relate with the other chubby kids. He helped them work on their God-given talents. He impressed his teachers with his academic abilities. The Gauthier parents received numerous calls from universities, colleges around the country trying to lure the Throb out of Islander. Being overprotected, the Gauthier parents declined offers from Harvard, Yale, West Point, and the Ohio State, and settled on allowing such local educational facilities like Pine Harbor, Jim and Jones, and the Labor Temple to foster this young family. Once tested, the Throb scored 225 on an IQ test, which further showed him as profoundly gifted. Since the age of 2, the Throb has been a member of the elite Mensa Society. The Gauthier parents even invested in a satellite dish to assist in his educational process for the Throb. When asked what was the key to his incredible ability to learn and retain useless information, the Throb said, "Breastfeeding until I was 15 years old." It was during these years that the Throb learned how to deal with adversity. The ever-loving Gauthier parents went without running water and indoor plumbing to assist in the Throb's mental preparation for his future, only allowing 1 can of Jelly soda on Friday or Saturday night. For example, the Throb took his younger brother Lloyd to Milwaukee Brewer versus New York Yankee game in Milwaukee for Ripco Credit Union days. The Throb saved Lloyd's life from drowning in beer when he pulled him away from an elderly woman who spilled her beer on the young lad after Jim Gantner started a bench clearing brawl. After the game, the two found themselves lost in the sea of buses in the parking lot at County Stadium. The Throb remained cool and calm and told his young protege, well, actually it's young protege, if you're French, it's protege, that if he could find the outhouse in complete whiteout, he could find their bus. And sure as the sun sets in the east, he found the bus. Another example of the Gothiers' parents training the Throb is by getting the family Christmas gifts from Toys for Tots. This generation needs to understand that Toys for Tots now is very different than when it was then. Now you get all new gifts, but back in the day, you never knew what you're going to get when you opened it. For example, puzzles. Many Christmas presents included jigsaw puzzles. The Throb and the young Gothier children worked for hours putting together 100 or 200-piece puzzles, only to find they only had about 90% of the pieces. Of course, with his incredible mathematical skills, the Throb would say 91.74%. Due to this situation, the Throb learned how to see things not as they are, but as what they should be. High school football coach Mr. Scandon reportedly watched in awe from his office at the Throb's quarterback abilities from the football games played in front of the school. It was not uncommon for the Throb to go 34 for 36 for 522 yards and 13 touchdown passes, with 2 drop passes from Dan Felton, who was trying to light a cigarette at the same time. During his high school career, the Throb was never under the perfect 158.3 quarterback rating. Scandon tried repeatedly to get the Throb to change his last name so he could play on the high school team. But the Throb was loyal to the Gothier name and wouldn't cave to the pressure. Scandon, however, did cave to the Islander name game and never played the Throb. According to the Wisconsin Valley Records, the Hodeiks set a conference record when they suffered 4 interceptions by DC Everest Dave Luby on November 1st, 1980, because of the poor Hodei quarterback Andy Kramer's performance. He went on to set most interception record in the Valley by throwing 20 that season. They predicted the conference record of 21 touchdown passes set in 1987 by Pete Clark of Spash, but have never touched the records the Throb would have set. When John Madden was designing Madden football, video football game, he analyzed the Throb's senior year and conservatively predicted a minimum of 63 touchdown passes, 12,574 passing yards, which again would have crushed the current 2,200 yards by Wausau West Nick Anker in 2005. In 1979, the Throb was contacted by Bill Rasmussen, Scott Rasmussen, and Ed Egan to create a television channel devoted to sports. The Throb quickly came up with ESPN, every special person network. The name was later changed to Entertaining and Sports Programming Network after the 3 screwed the Throb out of all profit-sharing rights. During the summer of 1980, the Throb received a subpoena to testify in front of the congressional hearing regarding who shot JR. The season finale sent the United States into crisis mode with over 500 riots, and the president ordered Congress to take a look into it. They called on the Throb, who quickly put together the plot and testified that Christian Shepard shot JR. Immediately after his testimony, things in the country went back to normal. Early adult life. From high school, the Throb felt compelled to turn down the 57 football scholarships to join the Marine Corps. The Throb was so discouraged by the treatment of Coach Scandon that he gave up his professional football aspirations and devoted his energy to defending the thin line of democracy. Most of what occurred during his Marine Corps days are still classified and considered important to national security, and we are not able to disclose them for fear of penalty of death. We do know that from his advanced training, he put the Rhinelander Police Department to the test while home on leave. St. Mary's Hospital was in the remodeling stage, and due to the classified top-secret work they conduct in the mental health department, the building was surrounded by razor wire, minefields, attack dogs, and armed guards. The Throb decided to test the system and soon found his way into the building to the amazement of the security team. When asked how the Throb was able to accomplish such a feat, he stated, "It's all about being in the right state of mind to accomplish such things." Some have called this state intoxication. To show his appreciation, they had Rhinelander Police Department give him a ride home. The police department was well versed with the Gothier name, as years before, the Throb's father led them on a high-speed pursuit to the same hospital as Mr. Gothier was doing his civic duty, driving a pregnant woman to the hospital. After this event, Winnetka County created an ambulance service based upon the concepts they learned from Mr. Gauthier. Years later, the police department actually hired the Throb's young protege, if you're French, protege, Floyd Jr., with the mindset, if you can't beat him, then you join him. When he arrived in Houston in 1982 to start his time with the Astros, local media quoted him saying, "Houston, we have a problem." This was in reference to the lack of offense the team was producing, and the Throb went on to say, "You want answers?" TV and media reporter for KTRK quickly responded, "I think I'm entitled," to which the Throb responded, "You can't handle the truth." The Astro front office quickly got involved and asked what it would take to turn things around, and the Throb simply said, "Show me the money." Now the baseball world was turned upside down with his dominating switch-hitting power hitter started with the Astros in 1982. The Astros finished third in the National League West in 1981 with a record of 61-49. Manager Verdon made a significant change and went out searching for the Throb. He wanted someone who could make an immediate impact. He had heard of the Throb from the Japanese Baseball League when the Throb was batting .762 with 67 home runs, 256 RBIs, and 125 stolen bases. This was accomplished by playing only part-time when he was able to sneak off the Marine base and play for fun. The Throb received no financial funds for his time playing in the Japanese League. His time in the league left such an impression and forged the way for future Japanese to come play in Major League Baseball. Manager Verdon was able to work a deal with the Marine Corps to get the Throb to play baseball. Pitchers Don Sutton and Nolan Ryan, catcher Phil Gardner, were instantly amazed by this young kid's ability and knowledge of the game. Spring training was a battle between the current 8-year veteran third baseman Art Hall and the Throb. During one spring training game against the Cleveland Indians, their announcer Harry Doyle quickly assessed the Throb as a natural. Tri-Star Pictures quickly picked up on this young kid and took Doyle's idea and produced a movie debuting on May 11, 1984 called The Natural. The storyline ringed of the Throb. An unknown comes out of seemingly nowhere to become a legendary player with almost divine talent. To hide who inspired this movie, TriStar made the movie set take place in the 1930s. After spring training, the wear and tear of having to carry the team was already causing the Throb shoulder problems. And sadly, only after 2 years, the Throb had to say goodbye to his Major League career. Life after baseball. With his baseball career over, the Throb turned to television. In 1983, he read a script for a new television program called The A-Team. The part eventually was given to Mr. T, as the producers felt the Throb was too muscular for the part. But in 1986, he got his big break and started a news show called Elf. He was casted as a friendly extraterrestrial who crash-landed in the garage of the Tanner family. This was the Throb's lucky year, as in September, he married his one and only true love, Pamela. The Throb was pressured by Hollywood to have a big bash, but keeping in his quiet, introverted self, he chose a nice, quiet reception at the bowling alley in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. In early June 1987, the Throb was called upon again to aid in our country by President Ronald Reagan to assist in a speech he was going to give connected to the Berlin Wall. President Reagan took this direct quote from a handwritten note from the Throb. "Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall." The Throb also read for a small role on the sitcom, The Cosby Show, but didn't get the part when he refused to go back to Bill's house for have a few drinks. With his wealthy ability to fix anything in his hands, the Throb became a consultant and writer for the television show MacGyver. The Throb was settling into being a father and family man. He would find himself often consulting with other fathers, leading group discussions at places like River Street Tap and Wolf's Den. The Throb wanted to instill in his children some of the qualities his parents instilled in him. The number one quality of a God-fearer was to be respectful, strong, quiet, refrain from foolish talk, and he would often tell his boys. Sean was the first clan member to come along. With Sean came great height. The Throb, leaning on the past, wanted Sean to learn to live through adversity. So one day, the Throb took Sean to the curb and talked to him about getting through life with pain and injury, making the most of each day. To accomplish this, the Throb designed an obstacle course for Sean to run. The final leg was to race across River Street without getting struck by a car. However, things did not fare well for young Sean.